Feeling, doesn't it? Well, we are in full-blown summer in the West, actually, and got a lot of heat advisories stretching from Washington, Oregon into California through Nevada. Heat advisories in place again. A lot of these go through tomorrow. We see temperatures in places like Medford. We hit 100 plus the last 3 days, and we'll be up there at least close again. We're 99 in the forecast for Medford. A lot of heat, especially in the interior, but even places like Seattle and Portland, upper 80s, low 90s. That's a big deal. Tomorrow's forecast here, we're up as well, running above average all across this area by at least 10 degrees. And so when you start talking about heat in the Pacific Northwest, we look at how many have air conditioning. So this shows you the metro areas who has air conditioning. Almost everyone in New Orleans or Miami or Houston or Dallas, but not everyone, actually maybe even less than 50% in places like Seattle or Oakland, California. And Seattle, we're looking at this heat coming your way. We do have a lot of heat and humidity in the southeast, as you would expect this time of year, and that's affecting us for some big events like the All-Star Game, which is tonight in Atlanta. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-90s this afternoon, where there's a lot of events going on at the Battery at Truist Park, and then through the evening, temperatures only dropping into probably the mid-80s throughout the game. Slight chance of a rain shower, but not a big one. We have heat advisories in the south as well, along the Mississippi River Valley, and then heading into southern Louisiana. This goes through today. Also here in parts of the Florida Panhandle, southern Georgia. We also have a heat advisory there. The feels like is going to be the problem. The actual temperature, mid-90s, but the feels like is going to be up above 100. In fact, it'll feel like 105 in New Orleans. That kind of feels like all through the deep south in Mississippi, Alabama, and in Georgia. The trend going forward into next week, Sunday into the end of next week, is likely above average with temperatures. So maybe not surprisingly because it is July, but we're expecting this heat and humidity continue, or some combination of them here. It may not be one or the other, but I think the combination of both. The temperatures in the 90s, the dew points in the 70s will make it feel very uncomfortable as we higher
on this list. A list we want to forget, but we can't. We must remember the dangers of flooding. And I think, Jen, you and I were talking off camera. This is one of those summers where flooding has been such a prominent story. Perhaps it gets to our psyche and our understanding a little bit better than in years past.
Right. And it really has been a summer of flooding. I mean, just yesterday alone, we had 96 flash flood warnings across the country, more than any other July day in history since they've been keeping track of those. And some of them were here. I mean, this is the flood for the rain footprint for July so far. And we had more rain yesterday and in the days prior. This is not just the July 4th flooding.
Right. When you add all those up, you can see that it is led to incredible amounts of rain. The soil is saturated. In some cases, can't handle any more rain. Unfortunately, we're kind of entering a period where we still can get very heavy rain, even still in Texas.
This was yesterday. And past 48 hours, we had anywhere from 8 to 10 or 12 inches of rain here, especially Uvalde County was one spot hard hit. The Frio River, we saw that quickly jump up with a flash flood situation there. And flood watches are up for today across this whole zone.
Flood watches continue across parts of Texas. Now, our forecast doesn't have as much rain, at least as widespread of a rain that we've had in recent days. But with the moisture still flowing into Texas at an extremely moist value, we have to watch out for any showers and storms that pop up, which we think they will, and lead to flooding.
Right. So there is a slight risk of possible flash flooding in the Texas Hill Country. This includes all of the same areas that we've been monitoring and seeing actual flash flooding over the past week and a half now. And so we watch the forecast radar, knowing that it's nearly impossible to predict exactly where the thunderstorms are going to fire up.
But it's telling us a story that more rain and thunderstorms are possible in the region with a continued feed of tropical moisture through the western Gulf into the Texas Hill Country. This is setting us up for still some risk of flooding for the next couple days, even though maybe we don't see it as prominent as we have in recent days.
There is a drying trend, you can call it that. And so looking ahead to the forecast tomorrow and then Thursday, I mean, the fact that we see more mid to upper 90s temperatures is telling, because, we've been keeping temperatures about 90 every day. That's because of all the moisture in the air. We get a chance to dry out, and hopefully this is a trend that continues, because we do need a break across this area. Look ahead, because I know if you step outside right now, you think, okay, it's not raining, but it doesn't feel like that much drier outside. We do still have a lot of humidity out there, especially in Virginia, where flood watches are still up. A lot of moisture still in place. the boundary that came through New York and Pennsylvania, New Jersey and Delaware is not all the way through here. In fact, it's kind of sitting just north of the area, and that's going to put us in the prime zone for the risk of flash flooding. There is a likely area for flash flooding today. It includes Petersburg, very hard hit with a flash flood emergency here, went for hours on end overnight. Includes going down parts of 85, 95 for folks around Templeton and Stony Creek and back towards Blackstone, right along 460 and 360. Be aware of the heavy rain potential today and the risk of flash flooding. Everything is saturated after yesterday's rain, and we bring in more. But then as we look ahead to the next day, we've got rain coming back on Thursday into Pennsylvania, into New York, into Ohio actually too, and that could lead to some flash flooding. Again, with the very humid atmosphere that we have in place, you can see where the deepest tropical moisture is right now, extending from the Carolinas up through Virginia, eastern Maryland, and that's not going to be too far away when we start to see those storms popping as we get through the second part of this week. We are actually on time at the airports this morning. It was a mess. There were a lot of delays. There were actually a lot of cancellations as well. Hoping you can get back on track today before we get into more thunderstorms on Thursday.